You can keep your eyes closed and listen. You can open your eyes and listen, as you choose. But clearly understand, appreciate that everything in life begins only in meditation, in absolute stillness, in total silence. Even if you think two people meeting for the first time, completely unknown to each other, they begin with total stillness. I don't know anything about you, you don't know anything about me. Then you begin to talk, exchange notes, and suddenly the silence with which we started is forgotten. Now we are always discussing, arguing, sharing, fighting, loving, hating. But when you started your first moment, unknown to each other, same principle everywhere. You want to draw a picture, the canvas is absolutely free from any stroke, any line, any picture whatsoever. Before we start to talk, we are in total silence. Please see this eternal principle of the universe. Nothing begins with a noise. Your relationships do not begin with a fighting, argument, discussion. You are meeting each other. It's just another person walking down. 8 billion people, you have nothing to do with anybody. Same way, before you start building a residential quarter, there's all space, open space, empty space. Then you build home. What type? Nobody knows. Whether you are building a palace, a huge temple, or you are going to develop a slum, small housing colonies. Space doesn't care, doesn't know. Before you begin your speech, it doesn't matter what language you speak. There may be thousands of people with thousands of different tongues, languages. Silence is same. So think it over, see it. Everything in life begins in meditation. Every change in life begins in the changelessness. The changing, growing, aging life begins in changeless, ageless, immortal presence, consciousness. Just see it for yourself. When you open your eyes, you see so many forms, trees, houses, landscapes of many kinds. But that by which you see, your eyes, is not a landscape. Recognize, friends, seeing is not seeing the object. Listen carefully. Seeing does not mean seeing the object, because even when the objects are not there, you continue to see with your eyes. Listening, hearing doesn't mean the sounds. The capacity to hear, always there. Long before the sounds reach you, you are enjoying the power to listen. Long before clouds come in the sky, your capacity to see is always there. Long before you taste something, the tongue is waiting, tasteless. Long before you catch a fragrance, the pure air breathing is taking place. Colorless, tasteless, odorless gas. All of us read it in our early education. Colorless, tasteless, odorless gas. We begin with that which has no color, no odor, no taste. Long before you catch a fragrance, it's already there. The capacity, the power to smell. Long before you feel the touch sensation, cold, hot, hard, soft, the skin is there. Shift within, long before memories of million kinds begin. The space of consciousness already there. Chidakasa, Chidambaram, that is why in our tradition so beautiful. Chidambaram, where the Nataraja is dancing. Chit Ambara, Chit Akasa, the space of consciousness. If your body, your body, billion bodies, landscapes, jungles, trees, mountains, rivers, ocean, desert, are in total space, which is not a form, has no color. Long before you create a new landscape with lawns, waterfalls, different types of trees, space is there. Same way, shift your attention within. The child is born conscious. Thoughts we provide. We create a thought landscape for the child. But we forget that it too was created for us. And long before this thought landscape was created, I was, I am, and I will be the same space of consciousness, Chidambara. You begin to speak. You must have the silence as the backdrop. Once we speak, we lose ourselves so much in the speaking and speaking and speaking. And the people who are listening, they get so much lost in the listening and listening and listening. Both the speaker and the listener lose sight of silence with which the speaking began, the listening began. Speaking begins, thinking and listening begins. Thinking begins, consciousness, yourself. Call it Nirava Nispanda, silence, stillness, beginningless, always there. To a child, when I am talking, it is to create a new landscape of thoughts inside. To an adult, when we are talking, we are reminding him that long before the thought landscape was created, you were, you are, you shall be the same consciousness. See how the table turns. To a child, you can't introduce him to the stillness of being, awareness that you are. The child must be given toys. The toys to play with, the thoughts, perceptions. When you are tired of that, You take him back with what he started. The adult can very well appreciate. Long before, my thoughts of many kinds, sounds of many kinds, touches of many kinds, sights of many kinds, tastes of many kinds, smells of many kinds, created the thought landscape within. There was, is, shall be the space of awareness. You cannot introduce a child first to himself, impossible, because he has not yet developed a sense of self. In school, college, if you are busy listening to pick up thoughts and ideas, now you are busy listening, but to be the self, which is not an idea. It must happen to every man, every person in life. Understand, friends? You can lose yourself in a jungle, in a labyrinth. You can lose yourself in a big city, but you cannot lose yourself in big space, vast, open space. You cannot lose yourself in vast, open space. Especially so when you even don't exist as a thought. I thought. I am the body. I am young or old. None of these ideas are you. When you say I am old, you are talking about condition of your body. You say you are young, you are again talking about the condition of the body. When you say I see, you are talking about your eyes. Walking, lifting, procreating, touching, tasting. You are talking about different activities of yours at the level of the senses, your physical body. Who you are is not an activity, is not a perception, not a sensation. Awareness, Chidambara, Chetana. That is why the celebrated statement in the Dakshinamurti Stotram, the Guru Stotram, Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyanam Sishyastu Chinna Sansaya. Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyanam. The teacher, eloquent silence, silence in eloquence, Maunam Vyakhya, a contradiction in term. You speak the silence. No words needed, no perception needed. Shishyastu Chinna Sansaya. The teacher spoke in silence. Students all doubts gone forever. Your sense of being. Who I am, who you are, one and the same. Gurupurnima Camp Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivo. The speaker is not a speaker. The listener is not a listener. The teacher is not a teacher. The student is not a student. The guru is not a disciple is not a disciple. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivo. Both, all, one and the same. If you can grasp it, and of course there is no question of not grasping it, think of the time when you were there, no memories were formed yet. The child smiling, looking at everything. No thought interference of any kind. You shall not remember your own childhood when you were 5 days, 10 days, 1 month. But look at your child. How it smiles, plays, googles. That with which we started. Everyone forgets it in time, but we lose ourselves in the memory landscape of so many kinds. When you are introduced to it in total silence, Gurustu Maunam Vyakhyana, the teacher spoke in silence. Students, Shishyastu Chinna Sanchaya, all doubts are gone. For you to be you, self the awareness. No words are needed. You did not start with name or word. Do not cling to the name or word. Can you start with a memory? Understand, friends. Every new car, every new vehicle, every tape recorder, begins in absolute emptiness. When you drive, miles are recorded. Traveling where? It varies from person to person. Recorders are same. What they are recording is varied. When the child is born, unrecorded, no distance covered, no mileage written. No words, no language learnt, no perception gained yet. Just like The child's curiosity, the colors attract, sounds mesmerize, touches completely overtake. Tastes, powerful recording, smells of many kinds. The machine, if you can name it, a consciousness doll. You got a consciousness doll, your child. Had it been unconscious, you would have disposed it off. A consciousness doll. All of us were like that. A body with all the sense organs, all the mechanism, and the awareness. As you are growing, every machine will start recording million different things. Principle-wise, your body, my body, your eyes, my eyes, your ears, my ears. The consciousness that you are, consciousness I am, one and the same. But as time passes, at different time, different places, what all you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, what all everybody hears, listens, and touches, tastes, smells, are varied. Each doll has its own memories. Strangers means strangers with different memories, different language, different perception, different thoughts, different faith. We lose ourselves in that, forgetting the oneness. Consciousness is safe. These are all consciousness dolls. Not only our memories are varied, but who we are is invariable. Consciousness invariable. Not only between person and person, but in one person. Your memories vary from your childhood to your youth, to your adult age, to your old age. Consciousness is eternal, permanent, invariable. Always meditation. Like we speak about silence, in silence. When you grasp the silence, all that you are speaking about and speaking in, redundant. We are perceiving, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, gathering impressions, memories. We are talking about consciousness, in consciousness. When you are aware who you are, all these things becomes a lovely addition to life, as though no way it ever can affect you, touch you. Always remain the same. The day begins, the day ends. Night begins, night ends. Childhood begins, ends. Youth begins, ends. Your body begins and ends. Your memories begin and end, fade away. You are beginningless, endless. Anadi, Ananta. Nantam na madhyam na punastavadim. Pashyami Vishveshwara Vishwarupa. O Lord. When Arjuna sees this macrocosmic dimension of Ishvara, the universal form, Vishwarupa. So Lord, there is no beginning, no middle, no end. Even in your own life, who you are, beginningless, endless. Your memories are beginning and end. Your perceptions are beginning and end. Your relationships are beginning and end. Your every experience begins and ends, but not the self that you are, who is Anubhava Swarupa. It is not an experience. It is not a heard, seen, tasted, touched, but in whose presence every sensation, perception, observation happens itself, beginningless, endless. Just be that. No choice in that. You can't cling to memories, they shall fade. You can't escape consciousness, always the same. Close your eyes if you have opened it. Just see that, friends. You can open your eyes and please see that. Our speeches begin. Your listening begins. Please. Who you are is always there. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, how nicely Bhagavan says, one verse you remember. Not to show your scholarship, your expertise in a language, but to remember the message, and that is complete in any word, any verse. Pashyan, Shrunvan, Sprishan, Asnan, Gachan, Pralapan, Visrujan, Nimishan, Unmishannapi. Nakinchit karovidi yukta manneta tattvavit. Tattvavit, who knows the truth of yourself, being who you are, everything continues. Pashyan, seeing, listening, touching, tasting, smelling with your senses, lifting, speaking, walking, excreting, procreating with your organs of action, thinking, remembering, memories of all kinds. In all these activities, nakinchit karomi, I do not do anything. In every one of these actions, I am absolute stillness. That is why Bhagavan says, karmani akarmaya pasyat, akarmani cha karmaya. One who sees total stillness in activity in and through every action, every perception. Understand? Perceptions begin, actions begin, perceptions end, actions end. You never begin to end, neither you end to begin, always there. Meditation. Your being who you are. Understand? Any person should grasp it. Instead of helping me to be me, so the Guru is one who helps you to be who you are, not puts you into what you should do, what you should not do, what you should touch, what you should not touch, what you should be seeing, what you should be. Mahadeva. Once you get this knowledge, you know what to do. Why somebody should give you a list as to what you should do or should not do, what you should speak, should not speak. Don't worry. That is why Bhagavan's that statement, Aseshena vimrushya, hey Arjuna, think over it, see it for yourself. Then, yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. You live your life. Please, nobody can live your life. You can live with somebody. You can't live for somebody. When people try to live for their child, their husbands, their wives, their father, their mother, trying to be a control freak, they destroy themselves and they destroy everybody. You cannot live for others. You kill yourself to save 5 rupees for your child or friend. The person doesn't know how to earn it, how to save it, how to produce it. In one day, he or she destroys the whole thing. Because you are living somebody's life. Whatever I do, I ask my Guru, I ask my these things. Hey, you can ask suggestion, but you live your life. You think it over. Meditation is, as I told you in the beginning, the first statement, everything, all that begins in meditation. Meditation never begins. Understand? See that very clearly. All that begins in meditation. Meditation doesn't begin. All that begins, the life, mortality, it begins in immortality. Immortality never begins. Sensations begin in happiness. Happiness never begins. Beautiful statement. Think it over. And then, Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyana. The teacher has not spoken anything, you have not heard anything, but you are free, I am free. After speaking all that is, I have not spoken a word. The student also can be same smart. I listen so many words, but I am not listening to one thing. How sweet. Gurupurnima Camp Shivo. This is the Guru Parampara. Not you are a permanent disciple of a permanent Guru. No, friends. Do not do that. Do not do that. Relationship shall never last in an unrelated brilliance, in an unrelated togetherness, where you are one in a togetherness, alone in a togetherness. How nice. Just close your eyes, please. All these classes, teachings, please think, why do we talk? When you are talking about amongst the friends, about the movies, business, relationships, transactions, it keeps you focused on all these limited things outside, inside. When you are talking this, it doesn't remind you anything outside. It reminds you of yourself. And what it reminds you, in that, every description comes to an end. So no residue left out. You listen. You are who you are. That's why you go back, if somebody asks you, what did you listen? Beautiful. What did he say? Don't remember. But you cannot forget yourself. Why it is taught? Why the teacher teaches? Why the tradition is like that? Because it helps you to understand that the principle, when a name is given, it is usually, and when as a child we are picking up these words, language, poems, names, so that we can remind each other. If I have to talk about a mango, I don't have to bring a fruit all the time. I say mango, you remember it. So from childhood onwards you get trained to remember things by listening to words. To remember my experiences of the past, I use my thought, I use these names and words. Therefore, when you are introduced to yourself, which is not an object, what name can I give in? Name also is difficult, but the names are given. Atma, Chetana, Brahma, Ishvara, consciousness, reality, truth, all these. To remind you of something. What? When you say consciousness is not the name of an object. When you say self, it's not the name of an object. You say Brahman, Atma, Chetana is not the name of an object. So when you chant it, it doesn't remind you house, car, husband, wife, fighting, pain, conflict, nothing. So people feel very comfortable. This is known as intellectual understanding. With one series of thoughts, words, names, which are not associated with objects outside, do not remind you of the objects, but it keeps you with those words. And when other words come in, these words become useless. But when you say the word aham, atma, chetana, consciousness, self, and it reminds you who you are. Why? As when the mango word reminds you of something, the description of you, who you are, reminds you of yourself. That is how you use the words to remind you of who you are, not to get stuck in those names or words. As when I say I'll give you a mango, I'm not giving you that word or a name. I give you what it points out. So do not lose yourself in chanting, singing, repeating, without remembering what it stands for. And once you see what it stands for, you will be pleased to know that even when you are not singing, not chanting, not discussing, not repeating a word or a name, it is still there as it is. Whereas if you don't remember the mango word, the mango will not be remembered. That is the difference between the thought about yourself and thought about the object. That is where so sweetly Mother's name is there. Bhavani Bhavana Gamya Bhavaranya Kutarika. Oh, Mother's thing, Bhavani. Is Bhava, samsara, the whole universe. He or she doesn't matter. Bhavana Gamya. With your bhavana you can grasp it. Bhavana reminds you, the thoughts that remind you who you are. Like mango thought reminds you of the fruit, this bhavana, these thoughts. Don't say mere thoughts, no. Words are needed, beautiful. Sabdatmaka Veda. All the words are beautiful. But don't get stuck on the words. What it reminds. What it reminds, which is bhavanagamya, bhavaranya kutarika. Oh Mother, you are the axe, A-X-E, X-axe, whatever you say. Bhavaranya kutarika. It is a powerful axe by which the jungle of the samsara is cut down. Bhavaranya kutarika. What words? So words are beautiful jungle where you can lose yourself, where you can also revel in all the time. Understand? So please see that. Close your eyes. When a word is spoken, it reminds you who you are. The word is taken away. The meaning is left behind. That is the Gurustu Maunam Vyakhyanam, Shishyastu Chinna Sanjaya. Words were spoken in silence, conveying the silence that you are. The students have no information sticking to the head, but they are the truth. How beautiful, how beautiful. If you forget science, you will get 0 in science. If you forget information in your history, geography, mathematics, you will get 0 in the exams. Here you do not remember, you are the supreme most, the best of the best. Nantam no madhyam no punastavadim, no beginning, no middle, no end. And everybody is distinction. Everybody is immortal, absolute, always in meditation. That is the Guru, who doesn't condemn you to a word or a name or an identity, giving you a new series of identity or activities. helps you to be who you are. Then both drop out. No Gurupurnima Shishya. When you don't remember anything, no words or description, you are not a dud, dense, stupid. You are the knowledge absolute, Jnana Swarupa, Anubhava Swarupa, Nispandam, Nishabdam, Samupasmaya. Always with yourself. Thank you, friends. Yes. Class ends. Meditation never ends. As I told you, everything begins in meditation. Meditation never begins. Everything ends in meditation. Meditation never ends. That's your being. Call it Dhyana Swarupa, Jnana Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, Atma Swarupa, Brahma Swarupa, Ishvara, whatever you say. Beginningless, endless, ever existing. After that, what? Choice is yours. Thank you.